And good morning and happy Thursday, everyone. Good morning. Hoping you all had a great week so far. We're going to start using some cassowary and Godot with Rust. let's get to it. So here we go. Good morning, everyone. How are you? I'm putting Stitch on the back burner. Stitch, as it turns out, I didn't understand one itty bitty little thing in the documentation. And just here, let's go find it for a moment. All right, so here, yeah, chunk size, blah, blah, blah. But it's before that. This is, got to scroll up just a little bit more. Here, message length. Note that this is generally not the same as the length of the chunk payload. The chunk payload length is the maximum size for all but the last chunk, which means that we have to dig in and know the size of each of the payloads because we end up taking that value away. So there's a good example, where is it? This one, where it shows you how they use this. Okay, you have message one, stream ID, message type, video, time, etc. And then they have a number of chunks. Now, some of these will have a length defined, the first one, right? This will be chunk type or format type of 0 with a chunk stream ID. But then they get down into having to maintain a little bit more state, which we're not doing. And I don't, by the time we actually get this done, actually, where'd my phone go? Uh-oh, I lost my phone. By the time we actually get this done, I think that Starlink might actually be pretty good in my area. So I'm going to hedge my bets and say, I'm going back to working on control, and I might work on this kind of in my off time, like when I'm not streaming. But right now, I don't think it's good stream fodder. So I'm gonna go back to control. And where did I leave my phone? Did I? Oh, that's so weird. Okay, no phone. We'll see how this goes. Gonna close that. No, no, no. We just get this one. There we go. Did that thumbs up? Yes, it did. All right, going back to control. Now, Flexbox. Maybe I'll just call it like border box or something else now. But that's not really what I want to play with today. We want to get into, we want another node. UI layout. Good morning, gentlemen. How are ya? Good morning. I gotta get my Windows set up. Now I can kind of monitor. Okay. So we have this layout bit here. We're going to be using Cassowary. I was reading the docs on Cassowary a little bit more this morning. Going to close a whole bunch of windows first. Cassowary. Cassowary linear constraint solving algorithm. What was the documentation on that? And we also want, or will want, oh, stop it, stop it. Cargo doc, open. That's probably not going to work. All right, because we probably have build errors. Okay, but the idea is the important thing, right? Not whether or not you got the right answer, just that you had fun along the way. Okay, let's come back over here. So we're going to have some location that has cassowary in it, right? That's not a C. Cassowary. That's horrible. Okay, cassowary. And we might have multiples of these. I want an easy way to be able to look these things up and for the Rust code to be able to invoke, like register things in this, etc. So I want two pieces here. One might be a singleton in Rust, right, in Godot's singleton land. Right? That just means it's loaded first. Singleton and Godot. Now, oops. Let's see, do we like this song? Seems okay. I'm going to optimistically thumbs up it. We're building up our thumbs up list. I don't know. This one might go down, might go up. All right. So we would have a singleton in Godot. That would have a number of these objects, a number of different cassowary objects, because we might have different UI layouts in different places in 3D space. So you might turn to your right, and then you have something floating in 3D space. You might turn to your left, you have something else floating in 3D space. And we want those different UI layouts to have their own cassowary. So it's either we have some object that hosts this and can provide some sort of reference to it, which I don't quite like. We would have to be able to wrap up a cassowary object in a. Oh, you like the fade out thingy? Well, thank you. Yeah, I was trying to work with that. If it's a little loud, I'm gonna turn it down. Let's go. Let's drop it down to about, how about -5? Oops, there's 5. There we go. Yeah, and thank you for the feedback on that, Jummet. I really, really appreciate that, as it's really hard to observe it myself. Because I could watch a little bit of the playback here, but then I'm going to have to actually mute the music myself. That seems a little better. Okay. So a cassowary. Oh, that's funny. I forgot to mute myself again, which I cannot stand. Oh, that's quite all right. Yeah, I don't have that set up. That'd be really cool though. All right. So for cassowary, we could either have this but behind some sort of like a arc, have this atomic ref counter, etc., where you basically climb the tree to figure out which layout. The problem I think with cassowary is that it's not going to serialize well, and we wouldn't want it to serialize. We would want the same exact object, so we would need some other way to represent that. Now, resources are ref counted. The problem is we have to go through the Godot graph API in order to be able to get to the parent, and then the parent has to return something to the client, which means that it has to become a variant, which then means that we have to implement to variant and from variant. Let's see, how did our, all right, I do like this one. Soho Shuffle. Interesting. So if we look at variant, underlying data can be either stored inline or reference counted, depending on the size and the type, and whether it's trivially copyable. Okay, I do not think that we should go through this. I think maybe we should have some sort of global that we can get a hold of. I don't know. Let's play it out. Let's say that layout has one of these things. This has a cassowary. Now what do we do with one of these? We create one. How do you create a cassowary? You know what we should do? Here, we're going to do this. We're gonna, let's see, thumbs up song, cost, I don't know, if like 50 or something. Oh, I have to give it a cost. Hmm. Okay, how about like 50? Or, I don't know, 25. something simple. All right, and we're gonna do the opposite thumbs down song. All right, maybe change the color on these. Let's see, what's a good color for a thumbs up? It's like a blue, a green. Right. And the other one's gonna be like a red, anger. I don't like this song. I want more red than that. There. All right, back to Stream Manager. And good morning. What did? Oh, there we go. Okay, everything's in sync. So we're going to create a new, what is it, a solver? I think it's a new solver because we end up adding constraints to this. Call it the solver. Because we're so clever. Truck Stop Man. Hey, Ellen C. Hill. Oh no, this is Train to Nowhere. It's kind of easy. So, do we not have no cassowary? Oh, actually, I noticed that those were not in alphabetic order. We must fix that. Ah, so much better. So much better. What are we using parking lot for? Probably some read write lock, mutex. All right, regardless. Cargo, add. Now, for the moment, I'm going to comment just a lot of this. It's going to mess up Godot, though, if I do too much. Okay, where are the errors? Flexbox? Oh, I think that's just cassowary solver. Yes. Okay, it's not anything. That's surprising. Okay. Hey, give me just 1 minute. Okay, and we're back. So what's it saying about solver here? Field is never read. Yes, that's right. We'll get to you. I think I want an atomic ref count around it so we can keep everybody can use it at the same time. Standard sync arc. Okay, then the other thing that we're going to want, probably a mutex. I don't think we're going to need a mutex because we tend not to use multi-threading in Godot. And for this, I don't think that we're going to be using multi-threading on the Rust side, at least not for these pieces of the UI. But it wouldn't be too bad to use it. Now, the other thing that we can use, actually, I want to check something. Yeah, I wanted to look up that user data. I think it's on this module. Yep. In Godot engine, scripted behavior is attached to the base objects through script instances, which is basically your Rust code. Or exactly is your Rust code. Okay. So we could use mutex data here. Because we could also do this, where it takes it a little bit longer to come back. That might help a little. And let's drop it to like minus 8 dB. Oh, that went the wrong way. I'm sorry. Just 1 moment. Should have been negative 8 dB. Voice always also carries very well over the music. Well, thank you. Thank you, MD Trodev. MD. MDT. What do you like to go by? See, I do not mind handling locks explicitly. Some of your exported methods take and self, and you don't need them to be exclusive. No, not that one. Let me know if it gets too soft. MD TroDev? Gotcha. See, I think this one's the default. We don't want to use that one. We could use this. Although I don't think we'll be okay with this. Oh, what is this? They keep adding things to Rust Analyzer for these code actions. It's gonna feel like Eclipse or IntelliJ for Java soon, which is not a bad thing. We're gonna use parking lot mutex, and I do not think we need that. We'll end up having some sort of getter on this. Then we'll just keep a reference to this. And I think that this actually needs to be a little bit more complicated because whenever something changes in the layout, the solver has to be run, and it has to be run by something. But if everybody has a copy to it, well, does everybody run it? Or do they then have to tell something to run it, that they mutated it? Yeah, we could create something clever that wraps it, and then when they borrow solver, so we could hide it inside of something, and then they get access to it, and when they're done and that reference is dropped, then solver could be solved. A little bit more solid baseline too. So what will we need to run on this? Let's look at solver. modules. Here's a struct. Broken limo boogie. That's what it's called. Suggest value, fetch changes. Here it is. Yeah, we want one thing to be in charge of that. All right. My wife brought my phone out. Now I can charge it and do all those phone things. Just one moment. I wanted to take a peek and see how Starlink's doing today, because we're at 5.2% packet loss, 5.3. So it's okay. So I can see having access to it for a little while, but then we do not want something to have, I guess, so much access. Maybe we wrap it. I mean, would we want just anybody calling reset? Probably not. What else? We've got add constraint, constraints, remove. So yeah, some of those are fine. Okay, now we're going to, let's remove the arc mutex. We're going to provide the interface for this. So they might keep a reference to this script. Being that this is only going to be accessed by Rust code, it does not have to be exported. What would we want? We would want to register some of our variables with our objects. Because when something changes, when a variable changes, and we fetch the changes, we're going to get a list of these tuples, and we're going to have all these variables, but we won't know which UI element they're associated with. So we need to have a hash map of variable to UI element so we can call them back and say, hey, this variable changed to this value. So let's create that. I think it's going to look pretty much exactly like this, with the addition of maybe this changing a little bit. What are the options here? Duplicate edit variable or bad required strength. Mm, We'll also want the object that owns it. All right, pub function add edit variable. Going to take a self. Variable is strength. Let's do the owner. Oh well, we need our owner here. Variable owner. And this is going to be a tref to some spatial. We will enforce that everything's just spatial here, at least spatial. I mean, it could be node. That might change. Then the variable itself and strength, which was an F64. Now the result here is either unit or that. I think we are just going to absorb that and say, okay, it always works. The other thing that we need is some sort of map. Variable owners, hash map, a variable to owner. In this case, ooh, a tref to a node. Wait, it's capital M, right? Yeah. Oh, missing lifetime specifier for that. Okay, this. I'm going to skip that one. All right, now for cassowary, when we add one of these variables, our variables copy. They're copy and clone. I think they're just like an ID. Yeah, okay. Variable owners dot add. Is it put? Insert on hash map. Oh, I don't remember. I think it's insert. We'll try them all. Eventually we'll get it. Okay. It returns the previous one. All right, then self.solver. Expect none. Variable shouldn't be added twice. We could add that as a debug assert. I think it actually fits more with a debug assert. What? This one's too repetitive. All right, now self.solver dot add edit variable and strength. I used to play saxophone, so I'm partial to songs with saxophones in them. Why is strength in F64? The real numbers. I see. It serves you, son. For debug assert, can we give it a message as well? Because you know you're going to be kicking yourself if you get to that point and there's no value there. Panic message is not a string literal. Oh, oh, it supplies formatting. Okay, thank you. Associated function is never used. That's too bad. Why? We have pubmod layout. Oh, but layout, but UI itself is not public. That's fine. All right, we're going to keep adding a couple of wrapper. Let's add the wrapper functions as we need them. But I think this is going to be a good place for them. And then after we add a constraint, we can, what is it, delay invoke? I forget what the Godot term is for that. Delay call, something like that. Call deferred, call deferred. Some method that goes through and calculates the changes after a constraint is added. Okay. So now we need something in the UI that can be attached as a child to this, and that can go and add itself. Well, that that knows how to add itself to this thing, that can climb the tree looking for something that has a function like this. We'll probably end up writing some macros for that. All right. Pub mod. Yeah, remember what our layout's going to look like. We're going to have some boxes, right? And the first thing that we will have in here is some sort of V layout. Right? So the outer one's the screen. Jefferson 6, good morning. So we'll have something there. We'll have some element there. Then we'll have some buttons at the bottom, right? And this will be some other thing. But we're going to have this one right here being the vertical box. So let's focus on that one, followed by, adding children to it and getting them to layout. That's our goal today. Those two things. Oh, you just started to learn Rust. Very tough. Yeah, Rust has, mm, like many languages have learning curves. Rust has learning cliffs. But don't worry, once you get up the cliff, you're good. Then you just go look for the next cliff. It's kind of learning plateaus. Um, and I think the best thing is just do a little bit every day, no matter how long it is, right? If it's reading the book for some reinforcement, doing some coding, etc., you'll get better. All right, so a VBox is going to be something that has children and maybe a special child for its border box. Then we will also have pub mod. Let's just call it border box instead of box, which Rust already has. We are going to comment out flexbox. And screen is special. Screen is this outermost layer, but we're not going to touch that for now. In fact, we could comment that out. Okay. Source, UI, border box. Okay, save that file. Use GD, drive native class. Looking at spatial, border box. Oh, do I not have methods? That'll be a spatial. which is just a template for now. Same thing here. All right. All right. Now, the first thing that we will have is our VBox. In our VBox, in our layout, because going back to this, we have whatever the layout is, and that'll be just inside screen to provide the layout with a width and a height. And then we will have this layout, or this VBox. Now, the VBox is going to need to register itself. Right? So we had some code in here. Why don't we just call this on tree? All right, there's that element. Now that is going to be calling two functions on our new class, on tree entered and on tree exiting. Now is this, what do we get from that? Are there any extra variables that get passed in? We'd have to check Godot for that, or some other code. It looks like here, when we're exiting, we just get our owner, which is fine. And entering, same thing. Okay. Register variables and constraints. Also, all right, there's the second one. So at this point, we have to go through the Godot hierarchy looking for a parent that is a layout. So what is the most, I guess, direct way of doing that? There is this class DB. This is just to tell us about these classes, isn't it? All right. Is there a get class? There is. Off of object. That'll return a Godot string. That could be interesting. But this is off of object? Not this song. Okay, I like that one already. And how's the music? Could it be a little louder, a little softer? Let me know. Now that you've kind of gotten used to it a little bit. Oh, the delayed fade was a great idea. I'm glad. I wish I could do that on the beginning, but that would take more equipment. This would have to be not done in real time, so it could go back and fade it in. So, or fade it out. So we'd get the parent, and then we would just keep getting the parent until it had something specific. At this point, we're gonna have to climb this. It's probably gonna be some sort of loop, but we have to have some state that exists outside of the loop, which would be the parent. Let mutable parent. In that case, we could do, hmm, I was gonna do like a while at sum, right? We would have to change this type. Node is equal to owner dot, what is it, claim? That'll give us a ref. So it'll be ref spatial, not a ref node. I want to check one more thing. Right now the delay is at about half a millisecond. And I'm not too much of a fan of this one. I'm gonna cut that delay in half so we can kind of dial it in. So feedback appreciated here. Now let's check. It's going to come back here in just a moment. That's still good. All right. Now in this case, we could do a while at sum. This is funny though. I don't, okay, I'm gonna thumbs down that one. Oh, and let me make sure okay, we're good so far. We're good. Just make sure I don't miss a message from my wife. All right. Oh, there's no get parent off of this. Why not? Why? Is it because it's a ref, isn't it? It's because it's a ref. Yeah, it exists on Node. What's a tree item? All right, this is going to be unsafe. Node dot assume safe dot get parent. Then we have a parent. Now we can check to see if that parent is a layout. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. MD Trotiv. It's back to half a second, and I do that very often. When I was younger, I mumbled very, very bad. So just speaking clearly, I have to focus on that, which is why I have those pauses, enunciating. Now, how do we tell if the parent is a layout? We could do a couple of things. Check to see if it has a certain function. That might work. Check the class type. Might be more accurate. If we assume safe on the node and get the class, we'll have the class name. Then we can tell what kind it is. I wonder what kind it thinks it is. If Now this will be a Godot string. We want this to be converted into a Rust string. Unless, of course, Godot strings are reference counted and it's just an identity check. But I don't think that's it. Reference counted, okay. Clone method is cheap, etc. Good. Do they impl partially equal? Godot char. Where's Godot string again? Wow, look at all these. Begins with, ends with, subster, yada yada. Find from. It's quite a bit on this. Here we go. Godot string operator equal. Oh, API wrapper. Okay, so it looks like it's specialized. It might actually be more efficient if we have a Godot string version of our class name and just compare them. Ah, no, but it would be, do they do string interning? I, that's a, that's a strange question. All right, so what is the function that we're looking for? We are looking for, go back one, Godot string operator equal. Let's go into Godot. Godot Rust? No. Is it just a wrapper? Search help for a string. That should be a Godot string. Copy on write approach. Yeah, it doesn't say about anything about them being interned. deduplicated basically. Okay, in that case, back out of that, back away from that. One more. Okay. Which is going to be the most performant? Oh, screw it. If this is slow, we'll optimize it later. If class name is equal to, what is it, layout? We'll return some, what is it, parent? Otherwise, we return none. This one's a little too, all right. So then in the VBox, we could have a layout node, or we could keep reference to that layout struct. We could get it. Let's play around with that. I want to see how that pans out. So if we do have a parent that has this, there's a script function, isn't there? It's a ref. Yeah, let's try this. Cast instance. Now what does that return? That returns an instance. A persistent reference with a Godot object with a native class attached. See, I don't even want the object. We just want the script. So we do a, let's see, a cast takes it to what? Yeah, basically from spatial to node, etc. It's a cast and upcast, but we want cast instance, which is going to be the instance object, and then we just want into script. All right, let's at least do the instance. Then we could at least use map and map mutable. Turbo fish for the win. Okay. Cast instance that doesn't exist on a ref node shared. Yeah, what does it exist on? Where access is thread access. That are only guaranteed to be valid if unique. Yes. If we go to a tref though, this is going to be the same thing, isn't it? It has to be unique. Not for a tref, but then we have a lifetime, and we have a ref instance. And from a ref instance, we could do a claim. This is only valid for non-unique access. Okay. How does that work? Like we can go around this by saying, okay, let's go to a tref, and then from a tref, we'll go to a ref instance. From a ref instance, we will claim that back into an instance. I mean, why couldn't we just get that from a ref? Actually, I don't like this music right there. That's it's like fuzzy. I don't like that. Kind of like clearer tones. All right, let's see if it'll even let us do this. Assume save dot cast instance. When would this not be okay? When does this return none? Try from base. Yeah, it's just bugging me that if we go around this direction, like the right thing to do would just be to look it up every time, right? we're in the tree, we can say, okay, the parent is always going to be our parent as long as we're in the tree. If we get a disconnect, then that's invalid and we will remove it, which we will have a very small moment of things being unsafe, like, catastrophically unsafe. This one's this one's close. That is kind of gross. I'm going to be surprised if that works. And really, how often are we going to do this? Whenever we change our constraints, and whenever we have to go and it is good, huh? It is good. A little scattish, isn't it? Why don't we just return the parent? Don't worry about the instance. Just return the parent. Yeah, let's keep it in English. All right. That looks okay. Get that. So if the class name is layout, then we're going to return some parent, and that'll be a rough node. And then instead of having to climb the tree, we'll save that expense, but still unwrapping it, the classes will still have to unwrap it to invoke node. No, in this super layout parent was it? I forgot what function we were in. Get layout. Okay. Get layout. Exported methods must take self. Oh yes, of course. Same for this one. Oops. Owner. Okay, so that should work. And then in this case, we're going to drop self.layout. Just take that, remove it. All right, should work. Yeah, that's, we're gonna upcast this to the type that it wants. Is that going to work? It does, great. Okay, now that we have layout, we'll replace our layout reference to that. But what if this is a none? What if you do not have a parent? Is this box should be a child of, should be a descendant, should be, should have, is it OR for ancestor? Let's check. Yes. Next portion here on tree exiting. That looks good. Okay, but we have to now give that thing a variable. So self dot layout dot, we're gonna have to assume safe on this because we're still in the tree. We assume that it is still valid. And when a child is added to us, we will also need to have layout. So we're going to be doing a couple things in that function, wherever that is, whenever that is. Should be able to assume safe on that. That should be it. Or as ref. Okay, just a sec. All right. Uh, Cast instance. Now that, what is this deref to? Deref for that, where? This is derefing for the scene graph stuff. So if I wanted to call node functions from spatial functions, we would use this. This is not deref to our script type. So we have to do cast instance to get an option to that. I don't know. Should be valid. Now we have a ref instance. In a ref instance, we can map and map mutably. Now, this part here, we need to know, are these functions here? Yeah, they do not have interior mutability. Okay, fine. So we must map mutably. Then we will give it a function that will take the script and the owner of that type. Or just use layout, same thing. Actually, it's owned by something else now. Replace it when we're done. Type annotation is needed for that. All right. Now that we have access to layout, we can add ourselves and register a variable. But what variables does VBox have? Let's see, VBox is going to have a width and a height. Now, should VBox be the one that registers this? What I'm thinking about at this moment is later, when we get told that this changed and this is its value, how do we map that then to other elements? With like a big if-else block? Or do we register some sort of closure, some function? Probably going to be cheaper to just do an if-else a couple times as opposed to a hash table lookup. I mean, if we had a lot of variables, then it would change. Maybe we should have these in a hash table so that we can pass that to our parent. Can variables get translated? Let's see. Can variables basically go to instance and back? What's variable? How does that work if it's variable ID? Fetch add. So here we have expression. My hat is crushing my ear today. Oh, much better. All right. Given that we don't have access to that ID, that's going to make it hard um, to send through Godot. Actually, do we have to even send it through Godot? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But I think I like the idea of a hash map here. Properties. Hash map of. I don't really like the idea of using a string there. We could use something else. We could use numbers, some big enum. That makes more sense. Let's use an enum. It's a super prop. You have a bad habit of using string in Rust? You spent last week trying to refactor something instead of using stir instead? Yeah. uh, yeah, what are there, like 3 different string types? There's, oh no, maybe 4. C stir, OS stir, string, then regular stir. Partial OR is not implemented for that. Really? Partial OR? I see it. It's right there. Oh, on variable it's not. That's fine. I was looking at that anyways, thinking we have way too many derives on this. Equal also is not needed. Debug? Oof, probably gonna be quite rough. I went a long time avoiding lifetimes. A couple months probably. But Rust is so big you can do that. You can spend a long time avoiding one piece of it and still have a ton to learn. Mismatch. Oh, expected spatial found node. Not there. Where is it assuming that? Layout here should be a ref node. Yeah, that's a ref node. Cast instance. Oh, because uh, that there is because in layout, the type for layout is spatial. So we should probably keep a reference to that, not as ref node, but as ref spatial. I do like this song. Oh, look, it's already thumbs up. But layout returned the wrong type. Should be a ref. Let's double check something. Take a look at ref again. Can only be used for downcasts. Casting between object and reference is possible on tref and bare references. Okay. It's kind of an upbeat harmonica one. We'll see if it's. We'll give it a type. Yeah, they are not. This is not unique. So why can't we do that? Let's see, where did we figure this out before? In our GD native ext crate. Well, it's not really a crate. It's our crate. I don't think it's worthy of crates.io. Assume safe, cast. So in this case, we're getting a specific node. Then we have the sum node. Node assume safe, cast, okay or else. What is this assume safe taking it into? It's a ref node, isn't it? Did we do this anywhere else in here? Yes. And it's the same thing. And here we cast to a scene tree. And this is a ref node shared. And so should this be. This should be a ref node shared because it's coming off of the scene tree. Oh, but we're calling this on a tref because the assume safe changes it to a tref. Okay. But now it's a tref and we have to claim it. It's interesting how you have to go to tref for some things. Oh, yeah, and it's not found on that. Expect Godot. Good. Let's go to lib.rs, and I'm going to comment out these ones that are having issues. Text, probably Flexbox. Well, I'm torn on Flexbox. Button, canvas, key, text, game. Okay, we are going to simplify. It's nothing, right? Hmm. Actually, it listens for resize events, but we're not using it right now. Let's close that. Okay, we want layout. Oops. Goodbye text. We want layout, text. Let's add VBox. There. Now it's sorted. This one needs to be in there. All right. Out of curiosity, did you guys get the Discord announced today? Because it didn't pop up the alert like it normally does. I was concerned about that. Oh, you did. Great. Great. Thank you. All right. Unresolved import. So what are we using that for? Flexbox size number. Because we were trying to get text wired into the last Flexbox UI piece, a previous attempt. All right, so if we don't have that, yeah, then Flexbox sizing goes bye-bye. Okay. Oh, borrow of moved value. Yes, there we go. Oh, width is never used, and the height is never used. Oh, that's right, because we didn't create those. Let's just do that real quick, because this hash map needs to have some variables in it starting out. Let's make that mutable. Properties dot insert super prop with variable new. Okay. Same thing with height. Now we have two properties that we can pass on to somebody else. Oh, the result is unused. All right, but we're not doing anything. So which result? Is this supposed to return a result? Oh, this is because the map mutable might throw an error. but not register variables. All right, now on script, we can call functions like add edit variable, etc. Or we could just give it a hash map of these properties. Self.properties.values. Okay, we should be able to iterate over that. And we want this to be a move. Now we have to pass in its owner, followed by our variable. No, followed by us, right? Yeah, the variable owner, which is that's script owner, followed by our owner, and then our strength. I have no idea what our strength is for these things. Um, okay, where is strength? Wrong one. It's cassowary. But why do we need to give it a strength when we're registering a variable? Is it add edit variable? It's not like we can do other things with this. That's kind of cute. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'll see. I thought that the constraints had strengths over each other, right? You might have this constraint for width must be exact. It's required to be exactly this. But then if you had two variables in that constraint, how do they have strength? I don't know. And then strength being variable, say here we have strength and then constants. Oops. Search again, please. Please. Constraint. I thought also had strength. Yeah. Suppose you have, well, suppose I have like x is greater than y, x is less than y squared as two constraints. Then you edit x. It's a question of if I drag x past the maximum, does it drag y? Oh, I see. Medium strength on this. And it's just some number. All right, so in this case, we add the variable. What's this has as a return type? Nothing. That's right. I-A-B-L-E. Oh, no, no, no. We're not doing this. That's not okay. No, that was just not right. This is more of an upcast. Do we have to upcast before we claim on that? I think so. We'll copy the variable. They're cheap. Well, hello. Yeah, that controller doesn't do anything in this. All right, so we've theoretically registered some constraints. Let's see if this works. We just need to create a scene with a layout and a VBox. Let's test this code. You know, we already have Godot open, don't we? Let's restart it. Everything's gonna break, just everything, because we deleted so much. Oh, we forgot to do the build. We have to actually build this so Godot can use it. Cargo build. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the project list. Yeah, got the little guy coming in here saying good morning. It's tea time, by the way. Pouring that scalding hot fluid. Ooh, it smells good today. Build, baby, build. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. There we go. Okay, let's run it. Good morning, Xenocron. Happy Thursday. Now, I didn't think that this would still work. Flexbox should not be working. Oh, this is, I think, just because where it left off. Okay, let's create a new scene. We have our UI test. We are going to change this type. Are we going to do that? Let's just create a new one. So I need some type, which is basically a scene. Could I add layout here? No, I can't. I have to have a scene. So let's create a scene. It's a 3D scene. We'll call it layout because we're going to attach layout to it. Native layout. That always trips me up, that grid. I do not like those grids there. I do not like them. Samaya. Save this as scenes UI layout. Saved. All the way up here. Right there. Now, as a child of layout, we are also going to create a VBox. It's a native VBox. Yes, yes. Save it. Scenes UI VBox. Save. Uh-oh. That's where Godot crashes. Oh, it's running our code. And our code is killing it. All right. We have to run Godot from this so we can see what's going on. Um, Okay, let's try this again. Collapse flex blocks and VBox solver. Do we just delete those? I should. Okay, goodbye. Delete nodes. Bye-bye. Okay. Layout. Gonna save. Then we're gonna attach VBox. All right. Ah, yes. Mod 44. Over and over and over again. Control C. It's not doing it. Oh, we only ever do the same one. All right, but what was saying that the class name is spatial? I don't think that's what we want. However, it's wrong anyways, because we do not reassign node. Mutable. Okay, we'll let that build and hopefully start Godot again. Are we in? Or in Godot Rust? We want to be in control Godot. -E project. Okay, that built. Let's try again. Now it should climb up. It'll list out the classes, but then hopefully not pause and destroy everything. VBox. Yay, it added a VBox. Oh, and look at all these. Many, many more than I thought there were. Interesting that this one's called control, as is this one. You know what this is? This is climbing up and out of the but you can see that we have spatial, spatial, spatial. So the class name didn't work. So we need some other way to tell, is our parent layout? What else do we have on node? Get to index, get path, blah, blah, blah. Pause mode, interesting. RPC stuff, bunch of setters. And then we have what we get from object. So we could get the script, or null if none is assigned. If we get the class name of the script, that might work. So we'll get script, then we'll have a ref to a reference, and reference is also a child of, or a descendant of object, isn't it? Inherits object, yes. Okay. Which means that we can get the class off of that. So we'll get the script and then get the class. I think we're going to do an if let sum on this. All right. And then in here, what is this? This is unsafe. Just a minute. Okay, let's try that. It built. That is save, quit it, and run it again. All right, so hopefully this time we'll get the script class name. That should have run, and they're all called native script. That's unfair. All right, how do we do this in Rust? If we were given something that we didn't know the type of, because in this case we're going to get a reference, From the reference, we can get the script. That's kind of circular, isn't it? What is this? Instance has base object. Returns true if base object is an instance of the script. Returns true if the script is a tool script. Okay, that's fine. Base object is an instance of the script. Oh, I see. If it's like spatial or node or whatever. What is name? The name of the resource? Optional identifier? I'm guessing. All right, well, we can check to see if it has a signal or something else, or whether or not it, let's see, set meta. Oh, this is interesting. Has meta. Maybe we can set the meta on itself. Let's try using meta then. So on layout, in its constructor, we will try setting meta. Now, do we do that on owner? It's on object. So I think we'd have to set it on the owner. And the name in this case has to be something that can go into a Godot string. Um, UI mod. We're going to create another prop, another enum, meta. Isn't there like a get type tag or something? Type ID? Read more. Yes, let's read more. Oh, interesting. Wow. Wow. So if we get the script, we could use this to get the script's type ID and see if it's type ID of then whatever our layout class is. Okay, let's get rid of this. I have never used any. This is on ref. Blanket implementations. I say impl any for T. Oh, gotcha. So if they impl that for ref, what is it actually returning? I see. So it is on the T, and for us, T here is blah 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 blah. Yeah, it's whatever the type is inside of there. So we get the script. We don't need the assume safe, anything like that. Type of was it property of, and this would be layout. And I find function. It's what about screen? Okay. Oh, type ID. Type expected function. I didn't realize that they had type ID on these. That opens up all sorts of possibilities. That makes me happy. I'm glad we did this today. This is really cool. Infini, good morning. Oh, Xenocron beat me to it. And yes, we do. We do. You might as well link the pretty ones, Xenocron. In their Xenocron stop files. Um, his are Xenocron stop files are much more organized than mine are, and I think we have a similar setup. I don't know. Did you go to did you switch off of COC Xenocron? You're still on COC, okay. This is an old voice. You can tell you don't get that in young people. That whispery, gravelly sound. Gun in me. It won't let me go. Yeah, we're gonna skip that one. That's prettier. We don't have the stuttering in there, which is UI layout repetition. Oh, T might be cooled off a little bit. Okay, now back to Godot. Let's see what it does. In three, two, one. VBox should have layout as an ancestor. That does make me sad, just a little bit. That means this did not work. Script type ID. We will debug this and layout type ID. Why would the type of layout not be the same as the script? Is it because because it's not the script? The script is it's inside of it, isn't it? It's here we're returning get script. That's a ref to some other elements. 792X. What happened to the stash? We did a little etch-a-sketch thing, fell off. Now we're working on it again. So we're gonna work up to new stashes. So it's coming in. We got some facial going on. All right. I'm guessing that, well, of course it's correct that these aren't the same, but why wouldn't they be the same? I think it's because script here is a ref to reference. So that's going to be the wrong one. Can we get the base type information? All right, let's assume safe on this. Actually, and I'm not even sure what. Okay, let's look and see what get script does again. It's off of object, returns the object's script instance or null. Good morning, Bear Duda. Good morning, fine sir. We're trying to be able to tell what script is actually attached to a node. Let's say assume safe, because in this case we get the script. We get that type ID there. Debug that. I want to do another little thing here because we know those types aren't the same. We'll see them anyways. And then unsafe script.assume safe type ID. I want to see this one too. What? Oh, because it's inside of this. All right, that's just some debugging. How you doing, Duda? Script here as a reference. You doing all right? That's good. Yeah, I hear you. For me, it was about 10 minutes today. Ah, yeah, that's rough. Kids will do that to me every now and then. Something will happen like an hour after you've fallen asleep. Uh, so how do we do this? And why is it saying that script is borrowed for static? Since when? I mean, we get the type ID off of it there. All right, let's just say parent. Parent is that. Get script.type ID. Parent.assume safe. See, and this isn't the right type ID. It's all static, no lifetime issues. That's right. That's right. Mismatch types. Oh, yes. This is no longer an if let sum. It was the script, get script, that actually returned the option. So we can nuke that. This might be an option. It's fine, we don't care. Because we already know that it was failing. Now here, this parent, it's already a tref. We don't need to assume unsafe on that. Let's do dot, can we map mutably? They'll have some values here. Script and owner. It's just going to return that. Hopefully that doesn't fail, but we're just debugging at the moment. We're debugging. I'm tossing in the unwraps for the debug. Oh, the type must be known at this point. Let's see, that's the thing. I don't know what the type of the parent is. It's it's an any. So if we do, okay, let's not do it that way then. Cast instance. This will give us a ref instance. Or was it? Oh, it's back a little here. And here we can call script and then get the type ID off of it. Oh, indeed, I added thumbs up and thumbs down to the songs. So it's manual at the moment, but it's good feedback. It costs 25 channel points, which is just silly. All right, this is already the right type there. Type annotations needed. Type must be known at this point. I don't know that type at that point. That's why I want the type ID on it. Yes, I didn't have ducking at all before. I just started Googling things and ran into ducking yesterday. So far, it's been well received, the ducking. We tuned it earlier. Got about a 500 millisecond return on it, but it drops instantly. So it should be good. It's very strong, the ducking. Yeah, I wasn't sure what the. Okay, this is also good feedback because I have the ratio set up really, really high. Now, if I bring that back down, so this is a test. Let's see, that still goes really, really far down. Bring it down a little further. Testing one more time. Let's see. This is probably okay. I don't know. How's this one? Is this one better? Is that still too far? There we go. It came back up to the high volume, and now it's about half. I think it's half there. Oh, it's pretty much a cutoff. Well, how is it now? Testing one more time. Testing. I think I've got the music actually pretty high for myself. I like coding with music. All right. Creates a weird up and down. Okay. That's really good feedback. Testing one more time. It shouldn't. That's a 1.5 to 1. Oh, a Spotify listen party. Yeah, I'm just trying to drop it a little bit. For this. Can I just get the type associated with this tref? All right, let's comment that out for a moment. Let it build. I want to see it run. Oh, now parent's the wrong kind. Again, Godot. Again. Oh, look at these gorgeous type IDs. Script type ID and the layout type ID. These are all the same. Is what type is that? Is that native class? So we got that script ID off of a tref of the parent, and we say get script. Right now that script there returns a reference, and the reference, see, ref instance doesn't have any. Oh, it does. So it's like colon T, colon type of type ID. Like whatever its T is, I want to know what the type ID is off of that. But we can have an instance, and an instance, oh, into base, dropping the script wrapper. See, I think it's actually this one that we want. What does a question mark size constraint mean? With a question mark, that means it's maybe sized. And the implications of that, I'm not quite sure. Let's see, here it's native classes user data, and then user data has something inside of it. So on instance, the any impl, oh no, okay, because, hmm, yeah, this is just a blanket impl for everything. Not what I thought I was dealing with. I thought it was a special one. All right. In that case, in order to be able to use that, we have to get down to the part, get down to the actual implementation of this. I don't know if that's actually exposed in Godot. We can try cast instance, and this might actually do it for us. Because I know that some of these actually use the type IDs behind the scenes. So if we take this to its instance, where was split? I thought there was a split somewhere. Or disassociate, decouple, that's what it was. Oh, there it is on the left. All right, assume say decouple. But decouple should have, yeah, we just want to call script on that. That'll give us one of these. Now that user data, what can we do with this? Associated types, target. into user data, etc. It's a trait. Type ID. Let's see if that gets us closer. I'm skeptical. I really am. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't know what the type is. I mean, I know what the type I know the type I want it to be. Let's try some of those TriCast. Those might actually do this for us behind the scenes. What do I do beside coding games? I'm a father and a husband. We have goats and 2 chickens. I also do welding. I like to do stuff in the shop. Yes, I'm gonna blush now. Sorry. Um, what else do we do? I'm a web dev, a day job. Currently a web dev. I've got a full stack. I've done everything. Okay, let's go back a little bit further because we're doing a cast instance, and in this case C, where C is a native class of base T with a base of T. So we can say cast instance or tricast instance, and then this might fail because C won't be the right type. Instance try from base. Radio jockey. Yeah, my kids tease me about my I think I'm just more relaxed here. Uh, way long ago, I had worked in fast food, and it was I did the same thing when working drive-through. I have the drive-through voice. Yeah, I worked at what was it? Carl's Jr. Welcome to Carl's Jr. Can I take your order? Or was it may I take your order? All right, let's do a TriCast instance. TriCast instance. This is going to be layout. And we will just, I mean, if that works, then we don't really associate a function with a similar name. TriCast instance is also, oh, it's off of ref. Okay, okay. Let's try this out. Still nothing. Okay. Some of these are only implemented if you have a unique reference to them. And you can see that at the top of this group that it's in here. And I'm using a manually managed type here, meaning it's in the scene, and the type is not unique, or the access. So we can call assume safe on that. That'll give us a tref. What is this instance ID? And so if we do cast instance, gives us an option to that. Yeah, it's doing ref instance try from base. Hmm. Okay, let's go back to assume safe. That'll be an option now. Should still work. Node shared. Oh, spatial to node. Oh, that's right. Okay. Let's do the cast before. Cast to spatial, then assume safe. No? Do I have to do that after? Probably on that tref instead. Oh, and that's going to return an option. Okay. Still. Oh, but layout doesn't implement debug. That's good. So in this case, if all of that worked, and then this is what we will use in order to tell whether or not our type is that kind, just using cast instance. That seems so obvious now. That seems really, really obvious. All right, now inside of here, if let some layout, let's just move that up, get rid of some of the other cruft. That that type does that doesn't match. I thought we had two unwraps before. What was it that I forgot to move the cast up, didn't I? That returns an and this song is just we're trying to teach Pretzel which songs we like. Not that one. All right. But that in this case, we don't want to give layout back. We want to give parent. Because if we gave layout back, that's funny because at this point we have a ref instance to layout. Why did we decide against that earlier? Was it because we would want to go back to an instance of layout? Let's say in layout.claim. I don't remember, but that would make some things easier. All right, let's try that. So giving it that claim, that's going to be an instance to a layout. This one's a little too big band. Yes, now layout's a different type. All right. That bass line in the back, the dun 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 dun. What is that? That's very reminiscent of uh, I don't know. It's not. Oh, I think it worked. Well, of course, because now it's actually more or less guaranteed to work. Well, we don't know for certain that it worked. Found found a layout. Found a layout. All right, let's kill that. That's almost done. So we should see now that it found one of the right type, and then we can use that pattern elsewhere because that's going to be very, very helpful. Oh, goody. It found a layout. How else can we clean this up? Is everything legit? Let's see, we have to assume safe on the node because the node's a tref. Okay, get the parent of that. Yeah, we loop on that at the end resetting. We're going to cast that to spatial because that's the kind that layout is. Can we instead use layout base in case we want to change? Ambiguous associated type. Oh, that's too bad. Okay. Now, this one is rather interesting because, like, well, it might be a little different from other things, like other sort of containers, like a VBox. A child might not know that they're added to a VBox, but they're going to have to climb the chain looking for something that might implement one of these things. So I wonder, like, are we just going to have a number of these? Can you cast to this? Can you cast to this? Are you a VBox, an HBox, just a container? Are you just a border? Uh, maybe, because it's not going to happen very often. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. But as long as this part's working, I think this is a good first step. We're going to figure out who we're going to raid today, because I got to get going. Oh, not very much going on in Rustland. We got anybody that's going to stream soon? Because I'll raid you. Raimo, are you out there? Bear Duda? I know you might stream. Let me check something. Just a minute. All right, we're good. All right, we're gonna raid this gentleman or gentle person. Who is this, anyways? Let's see. That looks cool. Oh wow. Oh, they've done a lot. This is just a game. This isn't somebody streaming. This is a game streaming. That looks awesome. Oh, that looks really, really cool. Okay, what's Classy Cat doing today? He didn't have Rust in his thing. We might do. Wait, is that Rust code? Oh, I think it might have a stream mislabeled. No, that's not Rust code. All right, let's raid Jessica. There. I think we're going to be using that pattern quite a bit for doing some of this stuff. Um, so until next time, bye bye.